right, let's go. It's now 7 p.m. on October 5th, 2023. This is the regular meeting of the City of Fraser Zoning Board of Appeals. I'm calling this meeting to order. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, item roll call, please.
Board Member Burley?
Here.
Board Member Chimenti?
Here.
Board Member Farina? Board Member Goodell? Board Member Lessig?
Here.
Board Member Menendez? Here.
I would entertain a motion to excuse members Goodell and Farina.
I'd like to make a motion to excuse.
Okay, motion made by Menendez, seconded by Chimenti to excuse Mr. Farina and Mr. Goodell from tonight's meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Item number 4, approval of the agenda of October 5th, 2023. Any changes or modifications to that agenda? I would entertain those now.
Make the motion, we approve the agenda.
Okay, I would entertain a second for that.
Second.
Motion made by member Chimenti, seconded by member Menendez to approve the agenda of October 5th, 2023. All in favor?
Aye.
The agenda is approved. Item number 5, approval of the minutes of the August 3rd, 2023 meeting. Any questions, changes, or issues with those minutes? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion to,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of August 3rd, 2023 as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made by member Burley, seconded by member Menendez to approve the minutes of the August 3rd, 2023 meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, item 6, the formal statement by the chair. So, good evening, petitioners and members of the audience. The Zoning Board of Appeals, as herein created, is a body of limited powers. Where there are practical difficulties or unnecessary hardships in the way of carrying out the strict letter of the Fraser Code, the board shall have the powers in passing upon appeals to modify any of the provisions of the code relating to the construction, structural changes in equipment, or alterations of buildings or structures, so that the spirit of the code shall be observed, public safety secured, and substantial justice done. No variance in the provisions or requirements of the code shall be authorized by the board unless the board finds evidence that all of the following facts and conditions exist. First, that there are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applying to the property in question, or as to the intended use of the property, that do not apply generally to other properties in the same zoning district. Second, that such a variance is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right, similar to that possessed by the other properties in the same district and in the same vicinity. The possibility of increased financial returns shall not be of itself deemed sufficient to warrant a variance. Third, that the authorizing of the variance will not materially impair the intended purpose of the Fraser Code or the public interest. And finally, that the condition or situation of this specific piece of property or the intended use of the property for which the variance is sought is not of so general a nature or recurrent in nature as to make reasonably practicable the formulation of general regulations for such condition or situation. That is the official opening statement. And now we will move on to item number 7, the public hearing. This is a public hearing for a variance at, I'll read it specifically. This is a front parking setback variance for the property at 32660 Utica Road. And it is now 7:04 p.m. and I would open the public hearing at this time. Is there any member of the public that wishes to be heard on this topic? Okay, hang on. This is my first meeting that I've chaired. I am to defer to the city attorney to describe,
Lauren will get the presentation.
or McKenna, yes.
Yes, and then after that, we can open the public
Okay, I apologize that I got ahead of myself. And please identify yourself.
Hi, my name is Lauren Sayre. I am the city planner for Fraser.
Thank you. Please proceed.
So the application variance request is for a existing coin-operated car wash converting into a strip mall. The applicant is requesting a setback, front parking setback variance from the required 70 feet to approximately 35 feet. So going through the standards for granting a variance, with regard to A, the applicant has indicated that the topography and layout of the land make it challenging to conform to the front parking setback without compromising the functionality and aesthetics of the property. With regard to item B, the applicant has indicated that several other properties along Utica Road and adjacent properties are not adhering to the 70-foot parking setback requirement, and staff has confirmed that there are properties on Utica Road in the CN, which is the commercial neighborhood commercial district, that have front parking that is not set back 70 feet, including the property adjacent to the north and south. With regard to C, the applicant has indicated that adhering to the 70-foot parking setback would significantly limit the potential use of the property, and the project would be a significant investment with the potential to benefit both the surrounding real estate and the city of Fraser, and real estate development can have a positive impact on local economies. It should also be noted that the business owner to the north has concerns regarding the parking configuration with regard to their business's sign visibility. The sign is a small ground sign, and the concern is that the one parking space in the front on the north side would block the visibility and negatively impact their business. With regard to D, it could be argued that this request for a setback variance is general in nature due to the surrounding properties. With regard to E, the Planning Commission did not sponsor this proposal as part of a site plan or special land use approval. And with regard to F, the applicant cannot meet the zoning requirement standards through phasing or deferment, therefore the scenario is not applicable. So given those statements of fact, I'd open it up to the applicant for any comments.
No questions for them.
Do you have questions? Okay. We have some questions up here.
Yeah.
Member Menendez?
You noted in here that they're a parking space shy.
That's correct.
So in that event, would they not have to seek a variance for that? And if so, would they not have to renotice again?
My understanding was that, and the applicant's welcome to correct me, but was that they were waiting to see if they're able to put parking in the front to then reconfigure their site to try to meet these standards, and that might include potentially minimizing some square footage from the building.
So in other words, you're saying if they're, hypothetically, if they were approved, they may not need, they'll reconfigure it so they don't need the additional parking space? I guess my question is because with the plan submitted now, and this is what we go by, when we see this, why don't we catch it then and then notice for this as well as that extra parking space? Because if they don't need it, it's never a problem. If you do need it, then you have to go back and renotice again. So, because we don't have to renotice or postpone if you come under the requirements that are set forth here. But if we have to go over them, then we would have to renotice.
So again, I guess my understanding is that, so there were several items on the site plan when it came before Planning Commission last month that needed to be revised, that would kind of reconfigure the site. So I again may be wrong, but I was under the impression that that would have been addressed in the reconfiguration.
Okay. Next, do we have a bigger drawing? Because it's very hard for me to see how these parking spaces, unless I'm just blind, how they're actually running, because there's not much of parking spaces in the front currently. They're not lined. They're not marked. Let me see if I can see it better on this one.
I have one that was, if this is the same plan, this is what was submitted to Planning Commission.
Yeah.
I can bring it over for you to take a
Okay,
look at.
so there's no parking that is pointing north in the front, correct? Meaning the way the arrow is, there's no parking spaces, or is there just one on the far end next to the business,
There are currently 5 in the front.
hardwood floor?
One on the north side and then 4 on the south of the driveway entrance.
But they're all running north and south, correct? And not, I mean, east and west?
east and
not-
west, yeah.
East and west, and not north and south?
That's correct.
Okay, do we know what the proposed use of this little strip mall is going to be?
I would defer to the applicant on that.
All right,
Member Menendez, do you want to see the larger plan?
please.
May I go to Mr. Burley?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh,
No, I'm
I'm
good.
just going to wait for them.
okay.
It's easier
That's fine. Do that.
instead of going back and forth.
All right, so would you like to come up? We'll start this process again. So, good evening. Want to let you know that we only have 4 of our 7 total members. So in order to, you need 4 votes to have a variance approved. And you have the option to delay this if you would prefer that the vote not be taken tonight. Just want to make sure you're clear on that, because you would need all 4 of us. So,
Makes it tougher on us.
yes, it makes it a challenge, so hopefully not. Anyway, I would then begin to open the public hearing again at 7:12:05. 7:12. And welcome, please identify yourself and tell us why you're here.
I'm Sam Thomas, the architect, and this is the client.
Fadi Akam, the owner of the property.
How do you spell your last name?
Akam, A-K-K-A-M.
Thank you. And your name again?
Sam Thomas.
Okay, Sam, thank you. All right. Is there anything you'd like to tell us about the building? And we have questions from our,
The existing building or the proposed?
the proposal, yes.
New construction, utilizing the existing foundation, utilizing the existing footprint and adding on to it. New from ground up.
Okay. Mr. Burley, would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, I got a question. How many parking spots do you have right now?
On the plan, we have 23.
Okay, and what's the minimum amount that you need?
23 based on the square footage,
So 23, so you have to have everyone that you have on,
including the 5 that we're asking for variance, correct?
the 5 in the front?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, can I ask, there was a mention that there were ones short on this at the present time?
Yeah, I
Was-
believe
is it
it's
24,
24.
24 required or 23? Okay. That's the question.
So they're going to need 2 variances.
Well, I think that's the question, yes.
Well, they could address the deficiency in the site plan and the revised site plan. If the square footage of the building changes, then the parking requirement changes.
What would the square footage change need to be to reduce it 1 parking spot?
I'm not sure off the top of my head. I'd have to go back through emails.
Could you do that now by chance, or?
I could, yeah. Let me-
So we have the facts in front of us. Anything else, Mr. Burley?
Yeah, Roseanne was asking, what do you propose the tenants are going to be there with the buildings?
I could answer that. Possibly like an ice cream shop, a cell phone store, a quick-to-go pizzeria, something like that, something that the city needs. That's not there right now. We're looking for good anchors. I'm looking for franchises to come in the city, in my building, actually.
So no dine-in kind of,
No, if it's.
All
gonna be a
take out
dine-in,
and-
It might be just like for people that's waiting for, to go, like waiting for their food to be ready. nothing's gonna be dying in, because as you can see, in front of the building, there's not much parking, and if they park in the back, no one is gonna walk around the building to come in the front unless we have a back access for the customers. But the front parking is really important, and having these parking spots is really important too, because it will not make sense for me to spend the money on the building if the square footage is less. So we need all the square foot that we can get, we need all the parking spots that we can get as well.
I got it.
Any other questions at the moment?
Yes, one of the reasons you have to come for us is to tell us what the property, the hardship of the property, okay, that allows us to give you a variance in it. So what is the hardship that this piece of property is the reason why you're coming before us?
It's the setback, the 70 feet setback. We're asking for a 35 feet setback so we can have the parking spots right on Utica Road.
But what is the hardship for the actual property? Because if you were to make it smaller and have less parking, you would need a variance.
I wouldn't attract good anchors. Everybody wants at least 1,200 to 1,300 square feet, and we're looking to do a 3-unit plaza. No restaurant would be okay with 900 square feet. It's not enough for their coolers, not enough for their kitchen, their hood. So the bigger the place, the better that the tenants that would attract at my building.
I got,
Mr. Chimenti?
you indicated a moment ago, there's parking behind the building,
Yes.
and you're gonna have access, or they're gonna have to be walking around
The parking in the back would probably be for the employees.
for the employees, but nothing for,
If customers, if there's not enough parking in the front, they can park in the back and they can walk, but, you know, the more, the better for the parking in the front. There's gonna be 3 tenants.
People want to see parking in the front of the building. They don't want to see parking in the back of the building. It's an unfortunate, I want to call it a fact, but
where are you putting the corral for the dumpsters? Because there's gonna be 3 businesses there, it's gonna be one large dumpster.
There's gonna be that corner on the left-hand side.
See, we don't, okay, see, I didn't see that. Okay, so that's gonna be taken care of. Okay.
And there are 18 parking spots in the back currently?
I believe 11.
You needed 20, you said you needed 23, and there's 5 in the front, so there would have to be 18 in the back.
There's 5 on the main road, and there is 7 in front of
And
the
then
building,
11.
and then 11 in the back of the building.
Okay, our drawing is very hard to tell, and that's,
Right
Seven.
here, here's,
No, we don't have one.
here's 1, 2, 3, 4,
okay.
facing, going east and west, and then here's the other 7. And then the remainder in the rear.
Okay, thank you. That was hard, the drawing is hard to see, so you're asking for a variance for essentially the 5 that are closest to Utica Road? Thank you, appreciate that.
Yeah, this 70-foot right-of-way is just a hard one to swallow when both sides of the building, there's a building within that right-of-way. And
I drive that road every day, every day, yes, yes, very close, and, as you can see, we do our homework, so.
I only showed 22 on here. Or is there one way up in the corner?
that's correct.
So
On
that's
the,
kind of right in
north.
front of that sign.
Correct.
That one in the northeast,
Yeah.
northwest corner, that's,
You good?
We should have all copies for that one.
okay, so 23, is that with that northwest corner?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If you want, I can stand up on the board and point out the,
No, it's just hard to see from our paper and that one. Just was not sure.
Yeah, this is what we have. so.
Need your magnifying glass, yeah.
No, we needed copies of this.
You have the comment?
Yeah, my concern is that on the additional properties there that were closer with the setback, the parking was all running north and south. So it was running Sammy T's, the church, which their frontage is quite a bit of parking, but it's all running north and south, not running directly east and west. So I worry about in the evening, the headlights crossing, number one. Number two, that is the business owner, the woodworking business owner, that, like they said, that parking spot right there that is now going east and west would be blocking his sign. It's a low, pretty low riding sign. So if somebody parks there, if they're utilizing that front, like you said, there's only 5 spaces. So if those businesses are all open at once, and you only have 5 spots?
Yeah, but our customers are not going to stay there overnight. Most customers are gonna come in and go. They might stay there to pick up their food or to get ice cream and leave. They're not long-staying customers. It's not a dine-in restaurant. It's gonna be to go, a cell phone shop maybe, you know? The longest they will take is anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes, so. And it's only hurting the people going north, traveling north on Utica Road. What about the people traveling south? They're gonna see the sign free and clear. And like I said, they would probably consume the parking spots in front of the building. That would be their last resort if they don't find any parking spots that's available. So I don't see that's a concern for his sign being blocked.
Let me ask you this. If you were to lower your sign on your property, would you want 2 parking spots on each side of your sign?
Wait, one more time.
If you had your sign for your business out there, okay, would you put 2 parking on each side of that sign?
So.
Your sign is high,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Would you, as a business owner, want your sign to be low and in between parking spots? Would that make
My
sense?
signs would be on the building.
I understand that, but I'm talking about your neighbor business, okay? It's not fair to him that you're gonna put a car right there, and everybody that's going northbound, if that car is there, will not see his sign. It's not a high sign, okay? We're just talking about that corner one. The other ones are a little bit less intrusive because you have the driveway there, so as you're going by, you can see it. But that one directly, I mean, you literally couldn't see the sign. That's, you know, one of the issues we have.
Gotcha. But you see what my argument is, that parking spot right there would get consumed only if the other spots would be full. It's like way far away from the actual building. So it's gonna be the last resort. And even if people were to park there, like I said, my tenants that's gonna be in that building, they're not gonna be overnight tenants. They're gonna be there in and out.
Yeah, but it's not about overnight, it's not about in and out. I mean, I hope for your success that those parking spots are full the whole time, right? I mean, in and out, that's what you want. Jet's Pizza, you know, all these successful businesses, they're constantly moving people in and out. That's what you should want. You know, so we can't, in my opinion, that would not make sense and it wouldn't be fair for that adjoining person. And the only one I'm talking about is that parking spot.
Mr. Walsh's place, right?
Okay.
Member Menendez? You don't have to leave.
We're willing to give up that parking spot. That's a fair, commenting from the neighbor.
That's a solution you think you.
Which would take us to 22.
We'll have low foliage or some sort of landscaping over there.
Well, it's-
Your turn. Please,
So
Menendez.
then if he removes that parking space, then technically, with this drawing, he's in compliance with parking spaces, correct?
No, with the drawing, it's still 24 are required. When going through the site plan, I think it's the condition in the ordinance that if it's fractional, it rounds up. So,
So we're at
We'll
23
need
point
to-
something
wait,
instead of 24, is that the,
that would be the calculation, so then it would round to 24 to be the required.
okay.
require 24, you count 22 now.
No,
you removed
he had
one.
23, yeah.
You
With that
Mark.
northwest, Mark counted.
counted 23.
Correct.
But they require 24, so if you take one off,
It's
there's
22. It's still too short.
too short.
We'll revise the building to meet that.
Do we know what that number is? Because I'm not comfortable just saying without numbers. I mean, we have to have something that we can hold to it on paper.
If it's a retail, if they're retail stores, then the number would be 3,300 square feet.
3,000.
And that's for 22 spaces.
And that's for 22.
I mean, that's not bad. I mean, we're giving up this thing.
So then, would we still need a variance to go to 22? We do not?
If the applicant amends their plan so that the building has less square feet, that's the calculation Lauren gave, the building would only require 22 parking spaces.
Still require the variance for the,
The setback, but not the number of parking spots, that is correct.
So the magic number is 3,322 parking spaces and no variance for the parking spaces, just the variance for the setback. Correct?
Yes. And if, my recommendation would be if the board does make a affirmative motion today to include that language as a condition of that motion.
Does planning have to approve those changes as well?
I believe, and I was not at the planning commission meeting, however, my understanding is that they postponed the site plan approval, so then they would have to go, my understanding is, and Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong, but back to planning commission for site plan approval.
So he would just have to go back with the hypothetically, a 3,300 square footage, 22 parking spaces, yada, yada, yada.
Correct.
and we would add that as a condition of the motion. Okay.
As long as they approve it, right?
Yeah,
So you would make the motion with, as long as they approve the site plan as submitted. Because
so
what happens if they don't, and we go ahead and we, give them a motion?
you mean if the planning commission doesn't approve it?
Correct.
I mean, if planning commission doesn't approve the site plan, then, that's, you need both to move forward, so
So it wouldn't make a difference.
it wouldn't make a difference, is what, you can include it in the motion, but it's required anyways, and as would, same thing with building, engineering, all of that review would also be required as every other, plan, so, yeah.
One last thing.
Please.
And the applicant mentioned that he wanted to put some kind of shrubbery, whatever there. I mean, again, like the parking space for a vehicle, you can't have anything that's gonna be too high or obstructive that blocks his sign, and then again,
Right.
snow. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're reconfiguring everything and changing everything.
We will not block his signage.
Okay.
I don't know if that needs to be put in writing, if it's a small.
So if that was part of the motion, you wouldn't?
Yeah, when we came through site plan approval, they were looking for landscape, and this site is just, there's very little room for landscape.
Okay.
And it would be perfect, it put some green in the area, some greenery.
So at this point, you would be amenable to 3,300 square feet and 22 spaces, is that?
I think, yeah,
Okay.
I think that's the right way to go about it, yeah.
And I, as I said, I've driven Utica Road for the last 20 years, and there are a lot of other properties similarly situated, and the expansion of Utica Road didn't help. So, back in the day. Anything else? Any other questions, Mr. Chimento? Ms. Menendez?
And for our planners, you don't see the fact that all the other parking spaces are running,
No, Sammy's Teas is the same.
is it?
Yes,
On
it's
the-
right-
On the very front edge?
They don't
I
have
looked,
parking on
I-
the front
I-
edge. They have
Up
just
against the
parking.
building they do.
No,
Yeah.
he has it on the
But
side,
his
too.
are closer.
Right.
His four are closer
He's
Right.
got
to the
Sammy's-
road.
Yeah, the church is the only one that goes north and
Fraser
south.
Auto is east-west.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Sammy's has got it where you can park.
Church is the only one that's north and south that goes that way.
I know. Used to park his Charger there and everybody would think it was a cop car.
Not here. Nope, they're running, yeah, they're running north and south.
But there's a couple spaces he's got on the side.
Sammy T. Sells is
Sells.
running north and south, and the church is running north and south as well.
There's a plaza right here.
Oh, on the side.
They have all the parking spots.
Like, see where
Here.
these five on the front are? They're facing where if you
See the
hit the
parking?
gas instead of the
You're
brake,
talking
you
about the side ones, though.
yeah.
I'm
Right.
talking about the ones in the building,
So
okay.
his front ones
Right.
will be pointing towards Garfield.
Or Utica.
I'm sorry, Utica.
Utica, yes.
Utica. Does that impose anything with oncoming traffic or moving traffic or the adjacent property across the street?
I think it's a valid concern. I'm not entirely certain how to answer that.
Because the only reason why I question it, because all the rest of them are going the opposite way, or they're up against the building. I mean, that's
If you go
that's
south-
right at the
If you
sidewalk.
go
end.
south on Utica Road, the plaza on the left-hand side after Garfield, they park the same way this is structured.
Which plaza? What are you
Yeah,
referring
the-
Very close to the
Auto
road.
parts
Yep.
and
And if you go north, Fraser Auto is also this
I
way.
mean, the front door of the building is like within 35 feet of the setback.
That's
Is
next
there
to,
residential?
to the
right-
bowling
right
alley.
Across the street, though.
You're talking about the strip mall, the strip one next to the bowling alley.
You're
Next to the
concerned
bowling
about
alley.
residential's across.
He's
Yeah.
got it. He's
That's what
got it.
concerns me. that-
Is your concern that it would hinder the southbound traffic?
No, the residents across the street, yes.
Yeah, because now you have, where most that I observed when I ran that whole area, they're going the opposite way. So, I mean, during the day, it's not gonna be a problem, right? But at night, because that is residential right across there, what's that impact gonna be? Because those ones are so close to the road. I mean, you just have the sidewalk there and boom, you're into the right of way, moving vehicles there. The ones up against the building, not so much, but
I will note, and I think I alluded to this earlier, the plans, and this is out of my wheelhouse, but the plans will still go through building, engineering review, fire review. So I don't know if that's something that the city administration will catch when they will want to reconfigure it. I can't speak to that, but I do know that is part of all of the review process as well, if that offers anything.
See, Sammy's.
Maybe a short solid fence would be a
Facing the car wash. On the side too, he's got a couple spots there.
4-foot fence might do it.
Very short. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add?
No.
Okay. Then I would close the public hearing at 7:34.
do we have anybody else?
Do we have anybody? Oh, I'm sorry.
Well,
Sure,
yes,
come on.
they-
Come on up. You need to sit in the center square and identify yourself.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for hearing me today.
No, you're right. I thought you were with them.
Message.
Yes, have a seat.
Thanks. Okay, so I am.
Yeah.
Oh, my name is Blaze Hirth, and I'm the neighbor to the north.
Can you move that microphone over there? Thank you.
And so just open the place a little bit about the sign. You know, I think that this plan with the building is great. In my world, it's going to drum up a lot of people, you know, and a new building. I think it's going to be really cool in what they're doing. So I don't like the fact, you know, kind of blocks the sign right there or whatever. That's a given. But, you know, I'm open to a lot of things too. So like, you know, if I can get a big sign up and lights and they can park under the sign, or if, you know, we share one because they're going to put a new sign up anyway, you know, I'm pretty much for it, but I still like the phone number out there and not my sign covered anyway, you know. But, yeah, no, I totally like it. It's gonna upgrade. It's probably gonna bring me more business too, so. Yeah, I was just here to sit in kind of to do that and say those things, you know, to make sure that I'm open. You know, we talk a couple times, I've seen the guy, but yeah, so I just want to, I guess, say that. So I don't know really about the codes for signs that are and lights, but I kind of dig it. I haven't researched how much one of those would cost anyway, but I'm game.
So your only concern was you just didn't want the sign blocked?
Yeah.
That's it, perfect. Okay, great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that's nice to hear that neighbors are working, reasonable and working together. That's a good thing. All right, now anybody else? I guess no one else? 7:36. Cindy, thank you. All right, so, board, how would we like to proceed? Is there anyone that would like to make a motion? Any other further thoughts? Any thoughts? That's my.
All right, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make the motion. Let's do this thing. Let's do this thing. I'm going to make the motion to approve this.
Okay.
32660 Utica Road.
You want to make
Yeah, I make the motion to approve.
what are the conditions and,
The conditions that were set forth on that one parking spot to give in the other business access to his sign. That's all I got. You don't have to. Just sent the variance on it. Variance is for the parking. Yeah. And, you know,
Mr. Chair,
yes.
for the parking issues and the numbers, the conditional should be the square footage, correct?
That's correct, yes.
square
There should
footage.
we should include the number of maximum number of spots at that 3,300 square feet, and that there will be no parking in the northwest corner near the adjacent property.
I mentioned that, okay. All right, go ahead with
And
that.
that area will remain clear.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Is that the motion?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyone want to second that motion?
I guess I'll second it.
Okay.
Can we clarify it, though?
Yes.
Those other ones, you know, how you're talking about, them running east and west, I guess I'm kind of having like a visual driving down the road. Those ones, so then the visibility of the sign would be after the driveway. Because those four that are leading northbound right there would still impede the sign.
Can you point out where the driveway is?
So the
Because,
driveway would be like right here.
okay,
That's the spot in question, that's the sign right here.
right?
So then, as you're driving north, these cars are this way, so then you would see the sign there rather than here. Because if they're running this way, like you were talking about north and south, I don't know.
That is true. It will set your line of sight from your sign a little closer to your building.
So what's the deal on getting, another sign that's higher?
Well, that's a different issue that we can't address tonight. We're only here to address that variance.
Just get with the city. Get with the city.
Yeah,
Get with the city. They'll help you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
You won't have to come for a variance.
I mean, that was something that could happen,
Well, the first thing is just get with the city. They'll walk you through the steps.
Yep, and so tonight we have,
And here's the problem, while they're having a conversation,
Yes.
the mic can't pick it up, so that's kind of a problem.
yeah, we
We're
closed
going to
the,
have to come back to you if he opens back up again, but
We can
you're
split-
not on the mic, so
Yeah.
it doesn't record for her.
regarding your general questions, I would say get Ms. Greenia's name and number, and she can point you in the right direction, okay? Yeah, that's how I would recommend you handle that tonight, so. All right, so we have a motion on the table for a approval of a setback variance at 32660 Utica Road with a maximum of 22 parking spots and with a conditional maximum size of 3,300 square feet and no parking in the northwest corner, and that area would be landscaped with some type of material to avoid any chance of parking in that area. Is that what you understand the motion to be?
Yes, and to approve the parking setbacks from 70 to 35.4 feet.
Thank you. And
That's what I was doing.
okay,
That's
I just
mine.
want to make sure that was,
That was
I wanted to encapsulate the whole motion, so.
Threw in there. That was mine. The variance that was brought forth.
Any comments from the board? All right, I would entertain a roll call vote, please.
Board Member Burley?
Yes.
Board Member Clemente?
Yes.
Board Member Lesich?
Yes.
And Board Member Menendez?
Yes.
Motion passes. You have your variance. Thank you very much.
Where's our stamp? Do we have a?
We don't have anything to
Cindy.
stamp.
ZBA stamp for them. Do we have plans? Nothing to stamp?
We may have plans in the back. I can get up and go look if you want me to look right now.
Well, they still have to revise the square footage. They'll have to do that first, correct? And then
Yeah,
do
they'll have to
that?
submit a revised site plan.
Okay, submit a revised site plan and then have it stamped by?
If it's approved by planning commission, they will stamp it once the, yeah.
This is
Do you,
basically, that's all you need.
our planner and attorney, you have everything you need from this board to move, to allow these folks to move forward?
That's it right there.
Thank you. All right, good luck.
That's it right there.
And I don't think we're going to take too long if you want to get the information from Ms. Greenia.
What happened to it?
I'm just gonna give you my name and phone number. Can you give me a call tomorrow?
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Yes, she is the city clerk, so that's her title. Okay. All right, thank you.
What's that?
Wish you all success.
hardwood floors, let me know.
Okay,
Happy to be in Fraser, you guys.
thank you.
Have a great evening.
All right, sorry about all that, my first time. Item number 8, old business, postponed cases, there are none. So I will move on to item number 9, new business of the board. Number 9A is residential driveway expansion discussion. I believe that would be from McKenna.
Thank you. Yeah, essentially, the planning department for months now has been receiving a lot of calls and inquiries about residents wanting to expand their residential driveways. The section that planning refers to is 32-9, subsection 10, which reads, "The residential off-street parking spaces for one and two family uses shall consist of a parking strip, driveway, garage, carport, or combination thereof, and shall be located on the premises which they are designed to serve. Parking shall be restricted to paved areas. Paved areas shall not be permitted in any required side yard or any required front yard, except the driveway located in the front yard, unless it's necessary to provide access to a side entry garage, detached garage, or side or rear required parking spaces. Horseshoe drives may not be used to satisfy parking requirements." So it's the planning department's position that this language would limit people, residents expanding their driveway to provide for more parking on the driveway. It's also worth noting that the former building inspector was under the impression that they could be expanded, and the city attorney, Mr. Denault, noted that he would also see this as not being permitted under this ordinance. But the request tonight is if the board has any judgment on this section of the ordinance that would help clarify some of these calls, or potentially even request a text amendment to clarify a maximum driveway width or definition of a driveway.
I have a question. Anyway. Section 32-92, do we know what year that was enacted? Before 1969, I would take it.
96.
96?
Yep, December 12th, 1996.
So prior to that, you could have horseshoe drives, and you could have,
In lieu of another provision, yes, but I can't say for sure in 1996 if there was another provision that would have prohibited it, but if there was not, then that would be correct.
so earlier would, okay, because I have a neighbor that has a horseshoe drive.
And it could be possible it was
House
put
was
in.
built in 69, the whole subdivision, so I'm just
That's-
curious in seeing on that section what year it was enacted. Okay.
Member Burley?
So I guess if you're building a house, you can make your driveway as wide as you want, as long as it's in front of your house. But if you're expanding it and adding to it, you can't. So basically, that's what you're saying.
That's kind of the issue that's been coming up.
Okay.
And I will note, from my office's perspective, I talked about this with Mr. Denault, where we typically, and what we have seen and done in other municipalities, is defined a driveway as something that leads directly to a garage. So that way, if someone is proposing to add more on either side of the driveway, but that pavement isn't necessarily leading to the garage, then it's not considered part of the driveway. So that it would therefore be prohibited because it's not considered part of the driveway.
So,
Member Menendez?
The problem I have with that is we allow recreational vehicles, big boats, big campers. They're required to be on a hard surface, i.e. cement or rocked area. In order to do that, you have to be beyond the front building line.
Right.
And what is, I think, 3 or 5 feet off the side building line. So you allow this sector of people to be able to add additional concrete, but if I want to extend my driveway because I've got, 6 vehicles in my household, I can't expand it. The way that this is being interpreted now, that's kind of a problem for me, because we've got this one group of people that there's no set of rules. I mean, I've got a driveway area that I house my boat in that goes back God knows how many feet by 15 feet wide. I could have very well have concreted that area, no problem. I get down to the approach area. Of course, when you're in the easement, you have to have that approved, but further up, back then, we didn't have to. They didn't even approve your layment that you had to put down. So that's where I struggle with, how we allow a certain portion here, but others can't. That's where I struggle with that. And I'm wondering if maybe we even postpone additional conversation because we don't have a full board. And I think it would be prudent to have the input of the other 2 that are here, that are on the board, before we make any kind of, so you guys aren't going back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And this is, I think, something more of just to kind of gauge, your thoughts on it. I will note that if a text amendment is presented, it would be Planning Commission who would vote on whether or not to adopt the text amendment. But obviously, we're bringing it here just so that the Zoning Board of Appeals also has, can give us our input before administration decides how to move forward.
Are they using the impervious? I mean, the reason for not doing it, is there any square footage of impervious surfaces that prohibit more concrete? Because I look around my neighborhood, everybody's got concrete beyond their 2 entrances into their garage. Everybody.
I think that's another issue, is that there is no limit on how much can be concrete currently
On a lot.
on a lot.
Unlike the the RM where you have 25% coverage, what is it, 25% in RM?
Your
Lot
impervious
coverage you can't
surface.
exceed.
Well, I think in houses, the residential also has an amount.
In structures,
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
structures.
Well, wouldn't you consider a concrete being a structure?
But they don't, because you can put an RV, and they don't.
You could basically, right now, you could cement your whole property.
Well, here's the funny part. Let's say you had two boats and an RV. We don't have any restrictions, as far as I'm aware, of how many recreational vehicles and trailers you can have, but they all have to be on a hard surface.
Right.
So there's no, not by what I've seen unless I missed something. You know what I'm saying? And there's where I struggled with, where, you know, this group of people, you can put as much cement or rock there, whatever, that you need, but if I'm a homeowner and I have a bunch of children and they're not leaving my house and I need more parking, I can't expand my driveway, you know, what are they, usually 8 feet wide? The slab
Probably,
wide?
probably.
8 feet wide?
I think they're 8 feet.
So that's where I struggle with this, the way that it is now, but I think it'd be valuable to have input from the other board members as well, you know?
I guess, yeah, I agree, but I just have a couple of questions because of my newness and ignorance on some of this. When it says paved areas, does that mean concrete or asphalt, or could that be the gravel, rock that you talk about where you have? That's a question that I would have. And then the second one, it says, how much paved surface can they have in the front as long as for the driveway? Is there if I have a 1 acre lot in Fraser, does that apply the same way that if I had a 100 by 125 foot lot in a subdivision? Or do they, at that point, if we set a standard, would they come here for a variance or a?
So to the first one, I believe paved area is just concrete or asphalt. The rock
Okay.
gravel would not count.
Okay,
To the second one, I don't believe there's a distinction between lot size, only zoning district maybe, but this is for residential, so any single or two-family residential, this provision's applicable to.
we don't have a lot of those big lots, but we do have quite a few in the south end. So, but at that point, they could apply for a variance and get approval of it if it was outside the scope of the ordinance.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and last dumb question, what's a text ordinance?
Oh, it would just be an amendment to the zoning ordinance. We just call it a text amendment, but it would be.
Or text amendment?
Yes, it would be an amendment to if you want to get literal, an amendment to the text of the zoning ordinance.
As opposed to an entire rewrite or a readoption of a new ordinance?
Yes, and so those are under Planning Commission's purview to recommend approval of those
Yep.
text amendments.
I just didn't know that term. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, any other discussions? We want to just hold off on this till we get the rest of the board together?
That's just my opinion. I'll
Well,
defer to
they're
the
just,
rest of you.
I think they're just looking for information.
Tonight was
not
just
looking for a-
discussion.
yeah.
But I just don't want it to die here and when it doesn't get brought back up when the rest of the board doesn't have an option to weigh in.
Would you like to make a motion to
Add it to next.
postpone this till the next meeting? And just
Okay.
add this as an agenda item next month?
We don't, I mean, it's more of just a conversation. You can make a motion.
More
if you like. We
information,
don't,
that's
I
all.
don't think we need one. We can have it, under old business and the new.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Put it under old business for?
Yeah.
Yes, and you,
Can we get any ordinances in other communities that mirror what you're trying to do with this concrete now, since we don't have anything? Shelby, Macomb?
Yeah, we can come back with some,
Sterling?
we can come back with some examples from peer communities.
okay. Similar communities, I don't know, Shelby might not be.
Yeah, yeah.
Shelby and Macomb might be a little different, Sterling Heights, Warren, Roseville, Clinton Township, those kind of things. All right, I don't know if townships are different than cities, but they are in a lot of ways. I don't know what it is. All right, the item 9B would be training date discussion. And who has that topic? Okay, I thought you might,
So, Reed had brought up at the Planning Commission, having a training before, and Ms. Manette Menendez did as well, having a joint training. I guess you had one a couple of years ago. So we decided that I would put out feelers via email to see who was interested, and I do have a list in my very brief memo, who responded to me, that was interested to come. What we did at the planning commission meeting last night was they all gave me dates in October and November that they could not make a training. So if Chair Lesich, we could go through, please, and perhaps if everyone here could give me the dates in October and November that they are out, and then I will try to decipher through there and throw a few dates out and see if our attorneys and our planners can make it, and we'll plan something from there. We talked about last night perhaps starting it at about 6 p.m. Mr. Denault mentioned that I believe last time he did bring some kind of dinner, some sandwiches and chips and stuff like that, so we could start like that. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, is maybe everyone to let me know if there's some bad dates for them in those months. Obviously, the first week in November up until the 7th is probably not going to be great if you want me there.
I'm busy.
Yeah.
The week of October 23rd, I'm not available.
Okay, so week of October 23rd, you're out. And in November, are you out?
No, November looks good.
November open? Okay. Mr. Chimente, do you have any dates that you cannot make it in October?
Well, the 7th, we can't make it.
Right? We're busy. We're all busy that day. Any other dates that would be bad for you? No?
Just that one day.
Mr. Burley?
November 24th through the 2nd of December would be a no,
Okay.
and then October 10th would be a no, other than that.
And Chair Lesich?
The 10th, the 17th, and the 24th is already out, but it's 10th and 17th, I'm busy.
Of October?
Of October,
And
yes.
did you say the 24th as well?
24th, I'm busy, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Other than that, and Fridays, I'm pretty much booked. And then in November, that week of the 5th through the 11th is pretty booked. And after that, I'm open.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, probably not tomorrow because we still have another batch of ballots that we have to get out. Probably Monday, I'm anticipating Monday or Tuesday being able to kind of weed through and see if I can find a couple of dates where all of you are available to meet, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for doing that, Cindy.
All right, education is a good thing. All right, item number 10, unfinished business of the board. Do we have any comments? Unfinished business, do we have any unfinished business at the moment?
Not that I know of.
Okay, monthly report, item 11, August, September monthly reports. Would you like to get that, please?
Thank you. So, I believe the biggest thing on this is yesterday, the Hockeyland Outlot, 34400 Utica Road, got conditional approval to remove the provisions of shared parking and to remove the deceleration lane. So now they just have to finalize a couple administrative things to get their certificate of occupancy for the Big Boy restaurant. Additionally, at last month's Planning Commission, Popeyes also received final site plan approval, and as well as a Class A designation for them to be a Class A nonconformity. 3100 Grosbeck Highway got their site plan and special land use approved. Now they're just pending final site plans, which have not yet been received by the department, but they've been made aware that that's their next step. And I believe that is the extent of the updates from September.
Any comments from the board?
I have a quick question. On the removal of the shared parking agreements, how could that board remove shared parking agreements that stipulations were put in place by the zoning board? As part of the approval, we had the shared agreements in there that had to be signed on, recorded, yada, yada, yada. So how is it removed by planning when it was part of the conditional approval of the variance that was given?
And I was not, I haven't been, my colleague Alyssa was at that meeting. She met with Mr. Andrews extensively and the Hockey Land group. So truthfully, I am not super up to date on that. I can definitely have an update for you when we come back next month. But I don't want to answer your question wrong because I don't 100% know, and I wasn't involved in the meeting last night.
So you're not sure how that, you're not sure how that happens?
I don't know about the logistics of it.
Okay.
But I can certainly, I will, talk to Alyssa, talk to Mr. Andrews. I know they went through this quite extensively, so I can provide an update though at the next meeting.
Mr. Chimenti.
Question for you. You indicated the site plan was approved on the one business on Grossbeck.
3100 Grossbeck.
That's where it used to be
Liberty. Tax.
Liberty Tax parcel.
Right.
And then, yeah.
and they're going to make that a auto repair facility, is my understanding from when I was here?
It's glass only, so, and all operations will be inside the building, but yes, it's correct.
I couldn't figure out what the configuration, where they're going to have everything, doing there, but, okay.
But they're just an auto glass, so they're bringing people in, changing the glass.
Yeah, I believe they're appointment only. All operations will be.
Auto glass.
Will be, yeah. Will be.
Okay, all right, okay.
Glass.
Okay, like Henderson Auto
Yeah.
Glass, okay. I understand. I couldn't, when they were doing that, they weren't specifically what their business was. It's just an auto repair, and I said, where are you going to put the doors and the parking and, and everything else?
Yeah, the building was formerly an auto repair, and so the bay doors are still there, and they're just kind of reopening those.
Wasn't it Tire Place and then T-Mobile? Yeah, it was
Yeah.
originally the Tire Place and then T-Mobile.
Been a few things. Mr. Burley, do you have any questions?
I do not.
All right. I guess my concern is the decisions and the ZBA action regarding Hockey Lane was done before I got here. Do we have a date on when that variance was adopted? Is there any, do you guys have any record of that?
I don't have it on me today. Lauren, I don't know if you have.
I don't have it offhand, but I can go back and.
If you can get that, I would just like to look at it. And my concern is that if we've waived those conditions and the ZBA did that, and then we give them a certificate of occupancy, and then it turns out that we needed to sort other things out, we can't really rescind that. So
So October 3rd, 2019,
2019.
the variance for a parking reduction from 958 to 525, and to allow overflow parking on unpaved surface parking lot.
Okay. So that was in, what was date in 2018?
Yes, October 3rd, 2019.
Thank you.
Wasn't
Do
it
we
also
still have access
shared
to
with
those videos?
Sure. We should.
Okay.
We should.
On YouTube.
Myers too?
There was Myers,
Meyer?
there was there was Myers, there was
It's next door.
soccer,
Yeah,
there was the school, and then there was
The V's.
Lions.
yes.
But the problem that we had with it back then was that the agreements weren't uniform. You had one that was a year, and that was the whole thing we wanted to clean up, plus, really, some of them didn't have proper authorizations. That's why Mr. Denault at the time said that we need to be uniform, we need to get the agreements, they need to be recorded, so they stay with the land.
Right.
But somehow the
Ms. Greenia, would you be the keeper of those agreements for the city?
The agreements that you speak of, I'm not sure we ever got those parking agreements.
we had old ones.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can find
Okay.
them, perhaps on the server or in the old files.
Yeah, it would have probably been in the first time they came before us, some of the agreements.
So 2019 perhaps, on those?
Yeah, August 3rd, 2019, when it was adopted, is the discussion I recall went on for,
August or October?
I think you said
October.
October. Did I
That
say
was when we-
August?
That was
I'm sorry.
October, you said?
I was thinking that it started in earlier,
Third,
like in
2019 was
August.
the variance. from the
October
ZBA.
3rd, 29 was the actual variance, but it,
And
There was-
were those agreements here, did you see them?
they were in our packets.
Okay.
But those weren't the official ones, those were old ones and previous ones. And what we wanted from them was actual agreements with people with proper approval that could approve them.
I don't know that we ever got those.
We didn't. I mean,
Okay.
I've never, for the variance that that we gave, we never saw any agreements because when they were supposed to be drawn up, they were to be given to the attorney, the city attorney to approve. It didn't come back to us, the city attorney would have to approve those agreements.
Maybe going forward, we should have them in hand before you even approve
Well,
the variance.
exactly.
You know, get those first, get them approved, make sure they're good, and then
Correct.
approve it, because
Absolutely.
there's obviously not enforcement.
Right.
Yep. All right, is that all for the?
Oh, I have one last thing on.
Yes.
Smoky Joe's, the illegal sign up, what is the deal with them?
And I was also not at, I don't believe I was at that last meeting. I know they were, I believe code enforcement did cite them for the signs, but that is the extent of the knowledge I have. As
But
of
we
right
don't know
now.
if they've been ticketed yet.
That's what I mean, that they were cited, so they were ticketed for it.
All right. Action item update, is there anything on that?
That's these.
Okay, that's those. All right.
Can we verify that? Because I was told that when I got my packet that they weren't ticketed. They were notified that it was a problem, but it was my understanding that
And this is the additional signage that they added that after we
The
denied.
liquor sign, actual
Yeah, the
liquor
liquor sign. That's the primary thing, because we denied that addition.
Yeah, I can follow up with the building manager before the next meeting.
Thank you.
so much.
All right, item 12, Planning Commission Liaison. He is not here tonight, and I hope he's having a great time wherever he is. Item number 13, public to be heard. I see no public in the audience, so we will move to item number 14, which is adjournment. Wait, do we have any other comments from our board members? Nothing? Okay. All right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion to adjourn made by Menendez, second by Burley. All in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned at 8:09-ish.
Not bad.
Thank you. I'll try better.
No, that was good. We didn't keep Cindy here till midnight.
Hi.
Maybe if I want to stay.
Thank
do
you,
more
ladies.
balance.
Go turn that camera,
Thank you, thank
turn
you.
that video up.
I don't know.
Did you push the button off?
I can't, he's got to do that.
Oh, so we don't know when he does that, right?
3 minutes.
Oh, I know, I know. Are you not cold, Mark?
I'm cold. I'm not cold.
Gosh.
But tomorrow I will be.